Hello everybody, welcome back to Waffles RC. We have made very good progress now that I have calmed down a bit. So last you saw was this. As you can see, it is completely disassembled. Learned a lot of lessons from this, figured out what not to do, and for the last day and a half or so, I have been working on the new frame using this as a reference so that I know what not to do. So this will stay in my collection of mistakes to remind me to be calm, think it through, take your time, and you'll create something much better. And so as you can tell, I have been working quite a lot. I got the old frame, and this time I drew out a template of the rear of the body and the front of the body, and the wheelbase, front and rear. So with that, I took all of this mess and all of this mess and created that. It is at full extension, obviously, right now, but it's level. That's what I'm happiest about. So I simplified the whole front end, basically. Had the same idea as the old links or control arms, links that I turned into control arms. Same idea, but this time I built them exactly the same on each side. So both the top ones are the same, both the bottom ones are the same. And before I welded them together, I had the knuckles on to try and get the axle line straight. And as you can see, it is much straighter than it was last time. Relocated the shocks instead of trying to squeeze them inside of the control arm like I did last time. Moved them all the way out, put these posts up higher. So now it doesn't just sink all the way down. It actually rebounds back like I want it to. And this will all change once I get some more weight on it, like, you know, a battery, motor, transmission, all that stuff. So it'll sit about there. And the other thing I did was I pretty much bottomed everything out. And purposely, as you can see, that has a lot of positive camber. This has a little bit. I can still adjust that one out and that one out, and I can get the camber straightened back up to exactly where I want it. Sorry, just noticed a loose bolt. So I am much happier with this rendition than the last one. I did not film any of it like I said that I would, because I wanted to take my time on it. And as you can see, we have full turning without any rubbing. It's not going to be turning that far. That's a bit ridiculous. So even about right there, I have plenty of clearance both directions where it doesn't hit the control arm. Still have some work to do on tying the front and the rear together to kind of strengthen it up. I'm going to make a skid plate for it and use that as the tie-in. Have much more room for the drive shaft for the front. The rear works very nicely. Also, as you can see, the drop carriage, like an IFS, comes down really low. Obviously, it has to. But even right there, I have plenty of ground clearance. Not as much as a solid axle, that's admittedly, but it's an IFS truck. I wanted to try this, and now that I've taken my time, I'm very happy with how it's turned out. I still have more strengthening to do, but I have the basics. Everything is working how I want it. So since we're on to bigger and better things, let's mount a transfer case and a transmission on here. Oh, I also still have to figure out the steering, but I want to take my time on that to figure out a good way of doing it. Haven't figured it out just yet, but once I figure it out, then I'll do it. But for now, I can still mount the transmission, transfer case, so that way I can measure for drive shafts, and then we can continue on with the building. And I have to find a place to mount the servo, and then the steering arms from there. But we'll come to that when we come to it. So I went with this style transfer case. It's the same one that's in the mud truck, and it's been holding up really well. So just gonna do the same thing. I haven't had any issues with transfer cases, stripping gears or anything like that, but it looks like a real transfer case, so I kind of like it. So that's a transfer case. And most of you who know me know that I like to run these forward mount transmissions to a transfer case. I've had really good luck with these. Most of the other ones that I have that have the axial 3-gear style. This one, not that one because I changed it over. And that one had the axial 3-gear style transmission. And I've had nothing but the worst luck with slipper clutches. This does not have one. I have had no issues with any of those that have this style transmission. So if it works, don't change it. I like to run these. They're a little bit more expensive, but to me, they're worth it. They're a little tricky to get the gear lined up with the motor, but I really like them. I've had great luck, so I'm just going to keep running it. Make a mount for the transfer case, and then I'm going to use the stock mount that comes with it, but make my own tabs for it. This goes around it very nicely, and I just have to make tabs that weld onto the frame, mount that on there, wham bam, we're done. Okay, got the transfer case mounted up, transmission mounted up, just kind of waiting on a motor, and I want some time to think about my steering situation, so we're going to put this one on hold for now, and we're going to grab this one. So, the issue that this one is having is adjustable suspension, but that's not the issue. The rear axle broke, and it has these weird portal axles that only one company makes, and it broke, and they don't make spare parts for it. So I got new axles for it. I already put the rear in, and I have the front right here. I got to go through it, Loctite it, and the reason why neither of them have diff covers on are because I painted them to match the truck. They were red. They're now purple. Yep, that looks way better than the red. In the next day, because I have to go do stuff, I'm going to take these all apart, Loctite every single bolt. That's why I only put 2 bolts in here. Still have to do the rear. I just wanted to make sure that it worked. These axles are the same axles that are on the mud truck. So they've held up really well on that thing. So if they can handle that, they can handle this. And I just really want this back. So let's do a time lapse. See me take it apart, put it together, and put it in the truck. That is all Loctited. and greased up, ready to go. The one thing that helps me, at least, and maybe this will help a few of you as well, I like to do, as you saw, I do it in a line on the top, all the way across for all the bolts that I can see. Then flip it over, do the same thing. That helps me to remember which ones I did, because I just take them out one at a time instead of taking them all out and, well, losing the hardware. Also, speaking from experience, those little ones in there, make sure you Loctite them. They will come loose. And then, you know, wheels fall off. Ask me how I know. All right, let's get that in that, and it'll be magic. And there we are. Axle is in. Still have to take that one back out because it didn't Loctite any of it. And I have alignment stuff that I have to do. Oh. And maybe hook up the steering. Got the Escalade all put together. So, battery plugged in, obviously. Okay, so because of the new axles being obviously a bit closer, this rear drive shaft is bottoming out, which is making this stay up. It won't go down any further like I want. Everything up here is working just perfectly. So still have some adjustments, but that is one Escalade that is finally back together. So we can keep with the weirdness of this video by going through and everything that's wrong with the other ones, because got that working. So what's wrong with all these? This one, my nephew got it wet and it quit working. Well, guess what? Works just fine. And the wall is strong enough to hold that while it's moving. So there's news. That one needs new receiver. That has a stripped spur gear, working perfectly. Pinion gear fell off. Needs a drive shaft. Absolutely nothing wrong with it at all. So that's what's wrong with everybody up here. So we'll get those parts ordered up and get everybody running again, so that way we can attempt to load up an entire car's worth of RCs with no room for people or anything else, and we'll take them back out again. Where? I don't know. Gotta find a place. Or another event, something like that. Not a lot of open events for mad creations like this. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I know it was kind of a all over the place episode with the Toyota and the Escalade, but I've been waiting for a while to get new axles for this thing. Still have a little bit of tuning to do, but she is 100% ready to go with some adjustments. Got everything Loctited. So hope you guys enjoyed. We'll see you next week when we get back onto the Toyota. So from Waffles RC, thank you very much for watching. See you next time.